Sentenced to death, the two British men caught by Russian forces while fighting in Ukraine. The UK government says it is deeply concerned by the treatment of Aidan Aslin and Sean Pinner. The Foreign Secretary has condemned their punishment, calling the pro-Russian court a sham. We'll have the very latest. Good evening. The UK government has tonight condemned the death sentence given to two British men who were captured whilst fighting for the Ukraine army. Aidan Aslin and Sean Pinner were given the sentence by pro-Russian officials in what the UK has branded a sham and a Soviet-era show trial. A Moroccan national was also given a death sentence. They were all accused of terrorism, but the UK Foreign Secretary says they are prisoners of war and the court has no legitimacy. From Ukraine, our Europe editor James Mate sends this report.
When first captured 2 months ago, it was assumed both men would be treated as prisoners of war. Both Aidan Aslin and Sean Pinner had been sworn in as fully fledged members of the Ukrainian armed forces. The Russians, though, decided to go down the road of a show trial. This afternoon, in what passes for a court in what the Russians insist is an independent Republic of Donetsk, both men and a third from Morocco were convicted of being mercenaries and given the severest sentence possible.
Having committed actions against the constitutional order of the Donetsk People's Republic and attempting to overthrow the government by force, it is justified and objective to hand down the highest possible punishment, the death sentence.
Foreign Secretary Liz Truss immediately tweeted an angry response. "I utterly condemn the sentencing of Aidan Aslin and Sean Pinner," she wrote, "held by Russian proxies in eastern Ukraine. They are prisoners of war. This is a sham judgment with absolutely no legitimacy."
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent Aidan Aslin.
Aidan Aslin's MP, Robert Jenrick, has today spoken to the men's families and says they're devastated.
Two British citizens have been put on a Soviet-era style show trial and now found guilty of trumped-up charges and sentenced to death. This could not be a more serious situation. We need to ensure that these individuals are treated properly, in accordance with international law, and brought home either to their friends and family in Ukraine or back to the UK.
This still is of Aidan Aslin being sworn in as a Ukrainian Marine 4 years ago, long before the war. He had been living in Mariupol and has a Ukrainian passport. He spoke from behind the iron bars of the dock to assembled cameras after the sentencing.
I was hoping the sentence would be a lot fairer, judging the circumstances in which I helped the investigation, and also because I surrendered to the Donetsk People's Republic. I wish it could be different, but God will be the one that would judge me when the time comes.
All three men convicted today are appealing their sentence. The issue now is to what extent they're simply to be used as bargaining chips for the return of Russian soldiers held by Ukraine.
Well, James is in Kyiv tonight. And James, is this a genuine death sentence, or are the men more likely to be used, as you said, as bargaining chips?
Well, I think one has to assume that this is some callous form of hostage diplomacy that's going on. The important thing to remember is that however much they dress that up as a court, or that they pretend that the Donetsk People's Republic is somehow independent, nothing happens there without Moscow's say-so. The orders for this will have come directly from Moscow, and almost certainly because Moscow wants something from it. Now, prisoners of war have been exchanged already in this war. As foreign prisoners, they will be worth more. But cynically, it seems that the Russians are trying to up the value of these men even further by passing these cruel death sentences, either to get the UK government, to put pressure on the UK government to change its behaviour in terms of support for Ukraine, or to get the UK government to pressure Ukraine to give the Russians something that they want. Now, Russian soldiers have already been, a Russian soldier has already been convicted here of war crimes and sentenced to life in prison. There are others who have faced trial for that. It may well be, and certainly I think the men's families will be hoping, that this is a very, very cynical ploy to get something, to get those men out and exchange them for the two Britons and the Moroccan.